up? BigHerc916. Positivity, motivation, never settle for average. You know, we do it over here. Marathon Burger. The legacy continues. Don't knock the hustle. I give props to Black Sam. I've never met the man, but I guess they're working on their third opening of Marathon Burger. I guess the first one was at Mel's. The second one was in Venice. And the third one is now in Long Beach. Now, I haven't ate there, but I plan on eating there sometime in the future because I heard the food is really good. And he's turned a vision into a dream and made it a reality, and taken what he's learned from his hustle and paved the way. And along that path, he's brought, from what I understand, many of his friends with him. Now, America is founded on gangster shit. You know, some people may say, well, the background, where he came from. Look, man, when you start digging into the history of people who have become blue bloods, royalty, super successful business people, you're probably going to uncover some gangster shit. And a lot of what we see has been rewritten by people who changed their history so that they could now appear to be upstanding. When you look at the whole alcohol industry, bootlegging, all gangsters. All gangsters. And now those individuals own legitimate spritzer companies, entertainment companies, holding companies. They wear suits. They fly on private jets. They live in big houses. People look up to them. You look at the royal family. They sit in these castles. They have these ceremonies. People want to be around them. But if you've seen what had to take place in order for them to have that wealth, you would maybe look at it a little bit different. But I'm not knocking the hustle. I'm not perfect. I had to learn a lot of things from the street of hard knocks. And, you know, it goes without saying, and to be successful takes a lot of luck, but it also takes a lot of grit. And sometimes it takes doing things in a way where you push the boundaries. I mean, everything about anything that holds any power is about pushing boundaries. Whether you talk about government leaders, whether you talk about capitalism, you know, and then people who want to hail socialism and communism, those dudes are the same way. They're gangsters, and they're even worse because they only want their partners to be able to have it, and everybody else live in total poverty, you know, and be androgynous. They don't want you to think. And one thing that's great about America, no matter how much you knock it, you know, you get mad out, you know, these people got all this money. You take people from the hood, you take some guys that have went through gang violence, prison, being shot at, and if they're able to create something that the odds are stacked against them, that creates hope. And that's what I always try to talk about when I see these youngsters out here doing the street stuff, out here not really thinking. If you guys put that same energy and structure it, organize it, there's no limits. You have Marathon Burger, you could have Crenshaw Tacos, you could have Slauson Exotic Cars, you could have Compton, real estate and financial. There's so many things you can do because there's a lot of smart dudes in the game. I've had conversations with guys who, you look at these guys and you see, gang member tattoos and all this stuff. But when you have a conversation, they're very well spoken, articulate, have read a lot of books, and I was gonna say educated, but they're educated from the streets so they can see through the bullshit. A lot of the education you get from the school books is the bullshit they want you to follow so that you're indoctrinated. You're not getting the real game. That's why a lot of guys who have been through the system, you start having conversations with them, they're the ones who start talking, and you think, oh man, this guy's on some conspiracy shit. Nah, he's not on some conspiracy shit. Sitting in the hole, doing time in juvenile hall or YA or in the pen, you get a hold of books and you're communicating with guys who have been down and they got knowledge and game that have been stuck behind the walls that's put you in a place of elevation, even though you're in the darkness, if you choose to. And, going back to, the Marathon Burger, man, that could be $1 billion enterprise one day, $1 billion empire if they take that formula and duplicate it across the country, across the world. And props, man, to be able to get the homies together like that to do something, and people want to work together. Now, they had the incident, which was down the street, the shooting. You're going to have stuff like that whenever you have different hoods come together for an event, or guys from one neighborhood and dudes from another neighborhood. But in the long-term vision for what they are doing, I see a lot of success behind that. They started with the clothing. They had some of the other things they were doing. I think they had the barbershop and some other stuff, but the burgers, man, man, that formula right there, anything to do with the food and consumption where people keep coming back, it's a win-win. You see In-N-Out Burger, and the thing is, if the burgers are as good as everybody is saying they are, then they can smash out a lot of the competition. Now, what they got to worry about is, as they start growing, is the corporate hater game. You start seeing, trying to get locations and different things like that. But there's always ways around it, man. I mean, hey, it's a part of the structure, whether it's corporate, whether it's in the streets. And these guys coming from the streets, I see they'll be able to navigate and make the right moves. But if they got a quality product like that, shit, I mean, hey, it'll take off because the food will speak for itself. And there's always room to make money. That's the thing about the hustle. People think, oh man, this guy's infringing upon mine. I can't get this. You can always get yours. There's so much out there. It's nonstop. It's the money. They print it every day. It doesn't stop. Where you think there's a shortage, somebody else sees abundance. And this country, like I said, was founded on gangster principles, the gray area, the hustle, and they've taken the hustle from the streets to now the restaurants, which is creating opportunity and showing the world a different side of that culture. You see a guy who has braids, or a guy who's maybe dressed in a certain type of clothing, walk a certain way, and you assume things, but now you see that guy and you see money, you see success, you see a winner. Not to say you didn't see that before, but they're shining a new light. And in some of Nipsey's music, when he was saying taking the homies and traveling and doing stuff, man, that was always a vision. Whenever I got to a certain level of success, was to be able to share it with people around me that I grew up with that had the same vision. Not everybody has the same vision. Some people want to knock you down. Some people don't want you to win. Some people look at you and think, oh man, who you think you are. You think you're better than us. You got to get away from those people. You got to find the ones who have the same vision. And eventually you get so big, you got to kind of distance yourself so that you don't get caught up in the melee and the bullshit. But yeah, don't knock the hustle. If you're out there and you're doing something and you could pull your resources together, you could pull your funding together, and you can pull off something like this. I mean, this is a formula that can be duplicated among young Black men who have been through the game around the country. You guys can do this. You can do it in Memphis. You can do it in St. Louis. You can do it in Texas. You can do it in Atlanta. You can do it anywhere. You know, you can. It doesn't necessarily have to be burgers. It could be ice cream. It could be hot dogs. It could be sandwiches. But you got to see that everything you've been through, don't make it in vain. Put it towards something so that you can leave something behind that's meaningful. Start buying up property, start buying up things, you know, and giving back, so that even though they're the community, maybe you did some things and hurt some people, you can flip that energy and put something positive back into it. Because people, you know, can point the finger, but you know, a lot of these guys, they voted in office and they look up to now, and their kids in private school, their great grandparents were gangsters. They were doing all the same shit, probably just at a whole nother level. But now that they are 2-3 generations away from that, you look at them as being prominent figures of the community. There's no reason why a lot of these Crips and these Bloods and GDs and you know, vice lords can't do the same thing. They can't be prominent figures in a community down the road, but you got to change your path. You got to look at the bigger picture, because a lot of these guys you beefing with in jail, they the homies, because they're looking out for you. If you don't have somebody looking out for you on the street, they're looking out for you. So you got to think bigger plan, man. Think outside the box. There's so much opportunity, but you got to maximize your resources and let people that are smarter than you lead the charge. It's all right if you don't know something. It's all right if you're in the dark, but if you can do what you do with maximum effort and contribute, that's well respected, man. Not everybody can do every job. Some people are better at some things than others. Shout out to them, everybody out there, all the LA dudes, all the cats out there hustling across the country in every hood. You know, I do put out a lot of stuff about these guys as far as the street dudes who are terrorizing, and you can't mix that. You can't mix that with Black Sam and them and doing with the marathon. You can't continue to do that and do this. You got to make a choice. But this right here, what he has going on, this, once it takes on this momentum and other young men start seeing this and visualizing, man, this is something big right here. This can change Black culture, bro, for real. Because these are street dudes. These are dudes who came from the block who seen something bigger. These ain't dudes coming from the universities who have been taught by a professor. These are dudes who have been taught from what they learned through life and the challenges. So, hey, man, subscribe, share, leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think. BigHerc916. Don't forget to stop by the BigHerc916 store and pick up a sticker for your car, or a patch, or a sticker for your laptop, or maybe a beanie, or read one of the many books that BigHerc916 has authored. You know how we do it.